All right, so here's the story, right? We had a members only webinar just a day ago. So nice that we had this type of day. I was telling a lot of you guys in the room this morning, and you guys know I've done a lot of complaining over the weeks. Anybody who's been trying to be patient and has been fed up with this market, especially in individual names, you got to be ecstatic off what took place today. And you hope there's more to come to finally get this shit over with, get that little reset, that little gut check at the least. So even if we get something on an intermediate term basis to loosen things up, and you don't have to worry about is this a value stock? Is this a growth stock? Are these things overheated? Is this group overheated? Is this group not over? It's just this market couldn't be any more of a pain in the ass. And I told you guys, I kid you not, we could be in a full-fledged, outside of today, we could have been in a full-fledged bear market over the last couple of months. And I wouldn't have changed anything I was doing. That's how bad of an environment it was for me on a swing trade basis. And I know a lot of you guys as well. So when you see something like today, this is what we want, right? This is what we weren't getting and we were getting frustrated about. So that first things first, that's most important. All right. So if you were being patient or playing in a conservative way, waiting for and allowing things to set up, today's a nice step in the right direction. Now, why is it a nice step in the right direction? Because a group of dip buyers got stung, right? We were talking about that. They have to get stung before you can get a decent, a healthy enough of a cleansing, so we can get into a smoother, an easier period of time where we can go back to swing trading, especially individual names, right? So now, I think now we're at the point now, right, where you want to try not to forecast as much, right? You want to take the information on a day-to-day basis, and you want to see where we're at, right? At the end of the day, you want to see how some of the indicators, what the updates look like, where things stand. Because like I was trying to tell you guys over the last couple of weeks, it's not a certain percentage drawdown, right? It's not a magical level. It's not a magical percentage washout that we're going to be able to know if it gets the job done or not. Okay, what we need is a cleaner setup, right? We need all the stuff we look at, right? As far as sentiment indicators are concerned, positioning stuff, we need to get a clean read off of it. So in other words, they don't all have to be showing the same thing, but the majority of them on the same page, right? And that will allow us, will give us, at least myself, the confidence and the conviction to say, all right, listen, we got enough sentiment support here where the likelihood is any further weakness, buyers will show up because sellers are most likely done. And we can play off these levels and find some names that have been beaten to shit with decent risk reward upside, right? So that's the main goal. All right. And a lot of like the positioning indicators, like you guys have been seeing them, right? The Goldman Sachs client positioning, BOVA, bull bear, and positioning there. A lot of I guess you can call them investors, but they're not tactical players. They're not so quick to change their bias. Okay, this market has weighed on them the most. Okay, because of the difficulty, and because of all the noise in the background over the last, probably going back to, I would say, fall of last year. You're talking about, usually you get a correction that washes that positioning out, and we haven't had that, right? The market has run to new highs or stayed right at new highs, and a lot of these positioning readings, right, have deteriorated significantly, right? The Goldman client indicator we look at, I mean, those are levels you see a lot of times in deep corrections. That's how frustrated they've been. Okay. So a lot of the more difficult stuff that takes a lot of time, that takes weakness, right? Takes some real selling to really materialize. They've been already in motion. And that's why a lot of you guys have been sensing, I guess, a more optimistic tone, a little more excitement in my voice of late. And that's the reason why, because I think a lot of the difficult stuff that we need to be patient on is, if not there, close. And now we just, ironically, we need some of the stuff that usually gets there with no problem. That's not there. You know, that's how, I mean, that's just the icing on the cake of a strange market that we've been in. All right. So let me give you an idea here, right? So we have, let's say, forget what's going on interest rates wise, forget the price action, forget everything, right? If we were in a normal bull trend, okay, where we're early in a rally, you look to buy dips, there's non-believers all over the place, right? Early, like I said, early in the rally, think back like that. A lot of, like, we're seeing some of the indicators already there. Like, for example, this, right, this is as short term as an end of a day indicator as we look at, right, for trades. Okay. So now we got a bullish signal here, right? So that, what that tells us is we go into tomorrow, right? And any additional weakness, or even just the market not doing much, right? We're looking for signs that there's some squeeze positioning going on, especially amongst, within the flow, right? So we look for like the TQQQ, call sweeper, weeklies. We're not looking for real betting. Okay, we're just looking for stuff that's going to signal to us, okay, right? Some of the more intelligent money out there is looking for a tactical squeeze, right? But what I reminded myself to stress on here, and I have been doing this for probably the last month or two now, okay? We are not early in any sort of trend, right? We've been in a monster of a bull market that is long in the tooth, to say the least. That hasn't had a correction, okay? So why is that important? Because the tactical signals, okay, that we relied on throughout this whole entire rally, okay, because the major sentiment signals, again, outside of the election, right? We talked about that a lot. After the election, they weren't even close to flashing anything bullish, right? So we've relied on the shorter term, the more tactical sentiment readings for entries, because there hasn't been any legitimate washout or correction, okay? But as you get further and deeper into a bullish trend, okay, you run into the problem where these signals, they don't necessarily have to fail. You don't know when they're going to fail, right? I've been giving you guys the warning of being on the lookout for this for, like I said, at least 2 months now, but they're more prone to failure, okay? Now, that's good and bad, okay? Because like I said, I think personally, it doesn't have to happen this way, but I think we need to see that happen before we get that reset we're looking for, okay? And it doesn't even necessarily have to fail. What I mean is, what we'll start to see is some of the squeezes off the more tactical indicators that have been money, right? Though, like tactical sentiment, that indicator, that has been sweet spot entry signal. Okay, forget about tactical sentiment. That when that thing flashes bullish, you had the best entry of the whole entire bull trend off that thing, right? So what you're likely to start to see happen when something bigger is taking place, you see the moves start to weaken off the signal, right? To the point sometimes where maybe they don't even show up, okay? But you'll see a squeeze, right? And right, tactical sentiment led to this squeeze. Tactical sentiment led to this squeeze. You'll get like I remember in 2018, there was a squeeze off tactical sentiment. It didn't even make the day, right? By the end of the day, we turned red. Okay. And what that was telling us was that there was something bigger going on, right? That sellers had the ball. This was different. This wasn't your normal dip entry that we've been seeing throughout the bull trend. Okay. But what happened is once that signal deteriorated and failed ultimately, that laid down where everybody got negged out, especially if you played off that signal, ended up setting up the sweetest spot of the whole entire move lower. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you look back here, I'll give you an example so you guys could see it just in pictures and see what the hell I'm talking about here. Right? And we went over this, if you remember, because I got deja vu. And you guys know I always like to be early than late on the lookout of things, right? So you get bullish signal here and you get a decent rally, right? You get bullish signal here, you get a decent rally. Then all of a sudden, this bullish signal here, right? You could see there were squeezes there. Look, like I remember like it was yesterday. You see how I tell you it didn't even make the day, right? It didn't even last a day. Squeeze, reversed. Squeeze, gave back the gains. And then boom. Okay? But this, look what happened when that failed and broke down. You understand? And down here, what happens down here after this fails, okay? Players are so negged out, beat up, and frustrated at that point, right? The news is so bearish at that point that nobody wants to pay attention to the stronger signals that are showing up here, right? So that's kind of what, if you guys remember me telling you, I have the blinkers on right now and trying to focus on, okay? Don't get me wrong. I want to catch these squeeze moves. They're profitable, okay? I enjoy every single one of them. But I'm at the point now, especially the way breadth has deteriorated, the way how flow has deteriorated in individual names, just the whole bull market has been running on fumes for a while now, okay? I'm at the point, and a lot of you are probably at the same point, whether you admit it or not, where enough of these, right? Enough. The risk reward continues to get worse and worse and worse as we go on off these tactical squeezes, to the point where it's not even worth holding it overnight, right? If you got profit the same day, take that shit, because like I said, the strength of the signal is going to deteriorate. It's not going to get any stronger, just like the market's been. All right. So I'm at the point now where it's all fine and dandy. Like when we get these short-term bullish signals, I'm definitely looking to hop on a squeeze on an intraday basis and capitalize off of it, right? If I get a little lucky, I can capitalize in a bigger way, right? Because it's intraday, obviously, I don't have the upside that I would normally have if I was going to hold it for weeks or days, okay? But I'm more focused on this, okay? I'm more focused on that right now. And the problem, it's easy to say that, but I've been telling you guys this now for like at least 2 months. You know what I mean? At least 2 months. And what's happened in that interim, okay, it's like I said, it's easy. I'm a tough guy that, you know, oh yeah, these tactical squeezes, they're not doing it for me. I'm looking for the bigger move. But in reality, it's not like the bigger move is going to show up when you want it, right? So here, right? You guys remember, I wanted this shit to fail right here, right? I remember the webinar we had. I said, if this thing rolls over and fails, okay, we're going to get what we want here. It didn't, and it rattled off this, right? Okay, same thing here, same thing here. And now we're here again, okay? So my game plan, right, to make it as easy as possible so I don't need to overthink things, okay, is rather than try to position off these shorter term signals like I would do, last year, early in the year, or earlier in this bull market, now these short term tactical signals are more for just day trading purposes for me, right? So I'm going in tomorrow. We got a tactical bullish sentiment signal, okay? But the problem is right now, we don't have much else with it. Okay, so we talk about that like sentiment support that we want. All we have right now is that tactical sentiment signal, okay? And I just explained to you how it's more prone to failure here, okay? So if it's more prone to failure, you want to see more stuff behind it line up. We don't have it. We don't have it. Okay, what do I mean by we don't have it? Okay, if you look at some of the other indicators we look at, even on a short-term basis, okay, even these plain vanilla, fear, greed, not even close, still sleeping, right? So that's not there, okay? Like I said, we want, right, I'm at the point now where I want the majority of these things to line up, let alone, a decent chunk of them, okay? When the sentiment trader version of this updates, I'll show it to you, but we don't even have SPY gamma there right now. Right? So again, the SPY gamma, the way we use it, right, with the sentiment stuff we look at is when we get this and our tactical sentiment signals, we know at least there's going to be a healthy rip because of what dealers are going to need to do when that tide turns, right? We're going to need that. I mean, at least we got that. We got a tactical signal, but we know the roads are greased and the move should be a healthy one, okay? We don't even have that right now. Okay, so again, it raises the odds of the signal being weaker and more prone to failure. Okay, it doesn't have to be, doesn't have to fail. But again, this game, you got to look at it all odds and probability. There's no, there's no guarantees in any, right? We know that already. So it's all odds and probability, right? When we got this with tactical sentiment, we know the odds and the probability are that the squeeze is going to be at least a strong one where we don't have to rush to get out and worried about getting run over on the downside. Okay, we don't have that. Right? So what do? We pretend we do? No, right? At least for me, and like somebody mentioned this in the room today, and it's probably, I mean, it was a good, it was a pretty intelligent statement, right? It might be easier for me to say this from experience, right? Because I've been through this shit before. So it's easier for me to say, oh yeah, let's just be patient. But there's a reason why I'm patient. You know what I mean? I told you guys, at least a month ago, if not a couple months ago, we're not missing something. Everybody looks at the one stock that goes haywire in a market where breadth has been awful, right? They don't look at all the other stocks that aren't participating, that are in freaking bear markets, for Christ's sake. They look at the 1 or 2, 3 stocks that have been bucking the trend and going higher. But think about what you're asking yourself to do as a player in this game, right? To narrow in, get lucky, and find the 3 stocks out of the whole market that the risk reward may be worth it, right? To risk your money. I mean, it just, right? Logically, it doesn't make sense. And that's the way we got to look at things, right? We're not missing much. Talk to other players, talk to other traders in this game. They're pulling their hair out of their head over the last few weeks, months. All right, so we're not missing anything. So it's worth being patient. All right, here's another thing we want to see, right? Draw down risk levels, right? So again, odds, talking through odds and probability here, the lower the number, the lower the odds of a further drawdown in price, okay, in the market, right? The higher the probability of a drawdown, okay? You can see, right? The market in bull mode, right? While an uptrend was intact and everything looked healthy, still found a way to get to this 3 over here before it bounced. Okay, we're not even there yet, right? We're not even there yet. So again, doesn't mean the market can't bounce here, but it's just telling us again that the odds of a healthier reset, a healthier move is just not there, right? So we want to see this at least here. If not, if something bigger is in the works, something like COVID, where you get complete washout. Okay, so these are the things now, instead of trying to forecast what may happen, what your gut may be telling you, what you think interest rates are going to do, these are the things we want to pay attention to each and every day as we see them update. And, again, just look at it through odds and probability of a rally or squeeze failing or a reset's in place. Okay, again, here something simple. If you're not a member and you don't look at sentiment indicators that you may have to pay for something. What's going on here? Okay, this is just put the call ratios. They're elevated, right? If you look over the last couple of months where some of these put the call ratios have been, we're close. Okay, but this feels right, looks, even just look at the price action in individual names. This looks and feels different. This is not like some of the pullbacks we've seen 6 months ago under the hood, right? Especially in NASDAQ. All right, so this is a NASDAQ equity put to call. With everything going on right now, shouldn't we see, right? Isn't the likelihood that when this thing is over and we could have some confidence to go in and buy some of these NASDAQ names that get obliterated on a daily basis, wouldn't you think the NASDAQ equity put to call would have a bigger spike than we've seen when they go up every single day? Like here, these things were going up every single day, right? Like we're not even at levels where we were here. And right now, the playbook is to not even look at tech with rates screaming higher. So, we want to, let's go, right? We'll wait for it. We want to see capitulation here, right? We want to see people spit up tech and NASDAQ. So when we go and start to look to buy these things, we know the likelihood is the selling's done over the intermediate term, right? That's what we're looking for. A lot of people looking at VIX. I don't think VIX is, not to say VIX can't have these spikes, but VIX, there's nothing going on in VIX. There's no, what I mean? There's no reason for VIX to play a role here based off what we know now. Maybe something happens over the next week or two with the Fed or whatever. But right now, VIX is not in play. Positioning is not off sides. There's nothing going on in VIX. If anything, players have been buying VIX as protection. All right. But we know that the NASDAQ is in shambles. Okay. And, players have been buying NASDAQ stocks for ages, even before COVID. Okay. Shouldn't NASDAQ volatility show some life? You know what I mean? Shouldn't we see a bigger move out of the VXN? Right? Again, just logically think about it. When this is all said and done, right? We could see a squeeze tomorrow. And VIXN and put the calls and all the stuff we're talking about means nothing. Okay? We could see a squeeze tomorrow or the next day based off tactical sentiment being bullish and breadth being washed out, short-term breadth. Okay? And all this stuff means nothing. Okay? But when it's all said and done, and there's the likelihood or a high probability of a bottom, right? That's what we're looking for. Something we can play off of, knowing that the downside is limited compared to the upside reward we're looking for. Logically think about it, right? Wouldn't VXN be higher than where it's been for the last even couple of weeks, for Christ's sake? So, these are just the little things that we want to keep an eye on, right? We want to keep an eye on. So it doesn't mean you sit on your hands and do nothing if you're a degenerate like myself. It's not easy to do that. Right? It's not easy to do that. You can play. You can play off tactical sentiment. You can look for anti-VIX bullish signals intraday and try to see if you can find an entry for a squeeze. But you have to be aware of what you're, what you're trying to play for, what you're trying to do. You can't see an anti-VIX bullish signal and all of a sudden try to turn that into a major bottoming signal for NASDAQ growth names. You can't do that. That's where a lot of people get in trouble in an environment like this. Unfortunately, it doesn't line up as quick and as smooth as we would like it. All of us, the majority of us we wanted this to happen weeks, months ago, right? While we were looking for it. But I've always learned in this game, you have to think ahead. You know what I mean? You have to prepare ahead. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to see what you need to see, right? The COVID, we use that example all the time. When COVID hit the fan and New York and Manhattan, everybody was turning into zombies. Nobody wanted to even look at Sharpies going all in, or a Bova Bull Bear indicator flashing bullish, or any of the things we're talking about today. Nobody could see that with everything going on, right? The only way you could see it is if you were prepared ahead of time and looking for it, right? And sometimes it happens quicker. Sometimes it takes longer, but you got to put the blinkers on and wait for it, right? And wait for it. So the bottom line, for those of you looking for a bottom line here, is, right, there's some signs of short-term washing out there, right? We definitely see that can translate into a squeeze. Okay, the probability is probably just another tactical squeeze, and this time it just doesn't have enough firepower like some of the others in the past, enough things that we usually have behind it. All right, so we want to at least wait for that. If even we're just going to play for a healthy tactical squeeze, you want to at least see that. But in the meantime, if you're looking to play something, you look to play for just squeezes. And what's a squeeze? You might not like the definition of a squeeze. You know what I mean? The majority of them in an environment like this come intraday. The majority of them come intraday. And yeah, we're running on fumes, and the reason kind of we're running on fumes here, right? And I wouldn't even say running on fumes. The reason why it's taking longer to develop, in a sense, even though the market's barely pulled back, one of the reasons, but it usually, when you run into bearish price action in the market, it's across the board, right? It's most risk-on sectors, right? And then you have defensive sectors that are being bought. They're the only things bullish. But right now, and not even right now, it's been like this for a while. We have the most aggressive rotation that we've seen in ages. You understand? So as bad as some of these growth names look, you have commodity names and cyclical names that look like they're in a completely different market right now. Completely different market. So that's why a lot of these sentiment readings, that we're waiting patiently to get there, haven't got there yet. Like, I give an example. We're looking for SPX put buying, right? Net put delta. We're looking for some healthy hedging in SPX, right? We talked about this Sunday. So some of this stuff is repetitive, but guys on Tuesday aren't there on Sunday. So we look for SPX hedging as a sign of players, showing some concern and a possible, unwind and squeeze coming, right? It hasn't been there. And why hasn't it been there? Because it hasn't really been the S&P 500 that's been the pillar behind this bearish price action, right? It's been more NASDAQ related, even more so, more NASDAQ growth and speculative related. So it makes sense that the SPX hedging would take longer to materialize, right? Like, again, we talked on Sunday, most players are probably getting long SPX and short the Qs, right? So how are we going to see aggressive SPX hedging if the pair traders get long SPX and get short the Qs? So that's, one of the plenty of reasons that a lot of these things are taking some time to develop. Here's another update I wanted to, I'll show you guys too here. Hold on. All right, because this is something else too. I like a lot of times, like when bottoms show up in the market. I'm going to check the future sentiment too to see what we look like. Oops. All right, so what do we have here? All right, we have a market. Okay, you start digging a little under the hood of the major indices. All right, and outside of the last couple of days, right, you had financials the complete opposite. Again, someday we were talking about this. How can we get bullish for any more than a squeeze off any short-term signals when you got a major sector telling us that the risk reward, right, coming into this week was a disaster? How can you feel good about getting long in any real size, right, when the financials are short coming into this week? Right? You guys agree? And, that's not the only thing. Like you look, right? Energy, right? They've been on fire. Now, if energy wants to do its own thing by itself, let it. Right? If it's just energy, that's fine because it trades off crude oil to commodity, no problem. But you can't have half the market cooked and half the market setting up nice and expect to see, any legs, any follow through behind a rally. Because more than likely, when they start buying stuff, they're probably going to sell the financials and come out of that. You know what I mean? And that's where you see the market. I'm saying if we do bottom, you would see the market where the NASDAQ leads, right? The Dow is down, the Russell's down. You're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? You're not going anywhere. And the SPX is caught in between. Look, industrials, right? We cooled off the last couple of days. But, barring before the last couple of days, you have the total opposite. Okay? Some of these things have really cooled off aggressively. Look at REITs. Whoop. Healthcare. Whoop. Right? That was a defensive sector they were plowing into. Consumer discretionary, you got both. So now, looking at it today, this is today's update. It looks a little bit better, but, I still don't see enough. But look at basic materials too, that cooled off, right? So it's in the process of doing what it needs to do. Okay, you get some more selling in the financials, or, you even get this down to neutral. You'll feel better if you got things lining up bullish. In the meantime, you got to look at biotech already on bull signal, healthcare, that was quick, already on bull signal, housing, already on bull signal, mining has been a hot spot, REITs already on bull signal, retail already on bull signal, semis, we want the semis, right? Getting there. Tech, that wasn't the case, already on, now back on bull signal here, right? So we're getting there. Do your job. We're getting there. All right, but last week, like we were saying, it just, it wasn't appetizing enough. All right, here is this is not as important, but this is something else we like to see line up too. All right, this is world markets. All right, Again, no one's trading. Well, some of you are, but we're not looking to trade these markets. You know what I mean? We want to see them, lining up bullish. Right? A lot of these markets move together. The most of them, not all of them. Looking a little better there, anyhow. Not as hot. The majority of them are hot. It looks like they cooled off. Let's see. Futures sentiment. Hold on. NASDAQ, I think NASDAQ futures might have be in bull mode. Let's see. S&P not there yet. NASDAQ not there yet. You gotta be kidding me. But close. Close. All right, so here's NASDAQ. Are these updated? Yeah, they're updated. Hold on. Okay. Oh, this is S&P 500. NASDAQ. What? Wait a second. Oh, I put two NASDAQs? What an imbecile I am. Here's the S&P 500. Yeah, I don't think, here's the problem, Saeed, and because you've been around a while. The problem is if we get it now, you know what I mean? If this thing can sell now and we have an opportunity, we're going to get these things before you know it. We're going to have all this shit line up. The problem is going to be if we get a tactical squeeze in between. You know what I mean? If there's a squeeze in between that lasts a couple days, yeah, it's going to reset things a little bit, and because very easily, and this is what could happen, right? You get a little weakness tomorrow, and then you get this, right? And then what happens is that tops out, right? Top around, and then you need that again. Or, or not. Maybe if it hangs around long enough here, you might, players are still getting bearish. That's why it's more of waiting, see how things on a day-to-day basis than predict. But if you do get this snapback move like that, which doesn't look like much, but is going to be a half decent move, it's going to, that sandwich shit. Exactly. That's what we've been seeing. That's what we've been in. Look, right? Same thing right here. So, but if we get some selling here, honestly, I don't think it's going to be too much. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to get, Sharpies all in type of bottom, but we're going to get where we have enough sentiment support here that the lows will hold. And even if the market doesn't rally to new highs and then some, even if it's just in a range like this, the under the hood individual names, you're going to see crazy outperformance. You know what I mean? You're going to see ridiculous outperformance in names if the lows hold and we bounce around. Like we were talking about Sunday, you can get these growth names that haven't caught a bid in ages. And, these things by accident, like Twilio, this thing can squeeze 100 points, or you know what I mean, 50 to 100 points, and still be in a bear market, a bearish trend. Yeah, so that I'm glad you brought that up, Cal. Now, this is the other thing that we'd even talk about, right? And it's a big deal. What do we have? We have a Fed kind of boxed in, okay? At least the market is presuming that. You got a quiet period now where the Fed can't even talk up these markets. You understand? They can't even open their mouths. So if this market wants to pull an a la 2018 and teach the Fed a lesson, you can't even have any of these Fed members open their mouths and walk back some of these hawkish comments, right? Like everybody and their mother in the Fed all of a sudden is diehard hawk all of a sudden. You know, so if the market did sell off, what they usually do is they come out and they start walking back some of those comments, right? Oh, the balance sheet, maybe we don't have to do, blah, blah, blah. They can't even do that because of the Fed meeting coming up. They're silent. It's a quiet period. So now, you know, you got that window. You have an expiration week that a lot of people were expecting volatility at the least, you know, being front run midweek and coming out of it. And then you got the Fed meeting where, you know, they can't even open their mouths. Yeah, you do have China easing, and that's kind of been the other side of the tug of war. But I don't know how much that matters here with as hawkish as the Fed has been. You're talking about major, you know, they brought these rate hikes and balance sheet runoff, you know, so forward here. It's crazy. You know, the rebuttal has been the Fed was going to be accommodating and gradually raise rates, and running off the balance sheet wasn't even in the cards. You know, now all of a sudden they're looking to do everything at once and 4 rate hikes by March. And, you know, you got, again, if the Fed doesn't like it, you know, I mean, the market, if the market doesn't like it, you know what the market's going to do. You know what I mean? They're going to find the Fed put. They're going to look for it. They're going to look for it. Wherever that may be, they're going to look for it. And you know, like China's a wild card. I'll tell you what's even a bigger wild card, I think. And I don't know if it's a good wild card or a bad wild card, at least over the short term. You have the economy was the reason why they were doing this was the economy can handle it, right? We have inflation and the economy is gangbuster. Ever since they've made those comments, literally every single economic number that has hit the board has been a catastrophe. You know that? Has been a catastrophe. Every single one. You had a huge miss this morning that a lot of people are tying the sell-off to, the Empire State. Retail sales were a menagerie. So now, again, you got that. That's the ultimate fear. The Fed is aggressively tightening into a slowdown, right? That's the market's ultimate fear, right? The market's not afraid of a slowing economy because the Fed would be accommodating, right? The market doesn't fear that. That's bullish. And the market wasn't afraid of, you know, the Fed raising rates into a strong and overheated economy. But you get that, right? Weak economy and aggressively tightening at once, you know. And what wasn't mean, guys? Wasn't mean ultimately, right? It's all ooh spooky shit. It ends up being a correction, and then the Fed pivots, and right, everyone got shaken out, and it's all beautiful again. Right, just like 2018, just like 2018, just like every other time. What the market wants, the market's going to get, no matter what the Fed says. You know, no matter what the Fed says. So, you know, it even looks like 2018 has a lot of similarities. 2015, possibly, if things can get back on track. Look at 2015. Was it? Yeah, 2015. Let me see. This is 2015. What was I looking at? Or 2016? No, it was 2015. Who knows? One of these years. We always like to look back, but most likely a waste of time when you look back anyhow. Yeah, 2018. And not only that, 2018, you had the cyclicals that were deteriorating for so long because of the trade war, right? So you had the Fed tightening into Trump's trade war in 2018. So it was Caterpillar, Deere, all those industrial blue chip names that just look like the growth stocks now. They went down every day. They couldn't catch a bid. Casinos. You guys remember the Trump trade war? Right? Commodities. The total opposite of what we're seeing right now. The total opposite. All right. So, but as the thing is the spooky thing we're talking about, right? If it does get dicey, what happens is it will, when it's over, you don't see it now, but we're gonna be at a point where we're gonna see sweeper activity start to come in and start to buy things that have been destroyed, right? Or maybe even just buy even the better stuff off a dip. But the best part about it all is the likelihood is we don't have to rack our brains and look at sector sentiment or which way is the rotation going today, or you know what I mean? Or they're plowing into the same name again today. All that stuff that we've been dealing with, we're not going to have to deal with anymore. So the market, unwinds a little bit, right? Even if it's a couple weeks. And we do what we can, what we've been doing, stay nimble, stay light, and just wait it out for a so much better environment. I mean, we'll take that. I mean, Jesus Christ, Tree, I know you've been complaining it with me. You've had enough of this shit, no? It's not worth being patient to get this shit over with already. And listen, remember when the rotation, like if you think back about a year ago when the rotation was going on, it was fun because, you rotate into tech and it would last for maybe 2-3 months. Now we were at the point where, the rotation was each and every day was a different thing going on, right? They were buying Apple one day. Apple was going up every day to new highs, $3 trillion company, right? And then the next day they're buying cyclicals. Like they lost their minds completely. You can't swing trade in that environment. How are you going to position trade in that environment? Each and every day is something different. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea what's going on. So that's the story. But yeah, Sharpies, sure, we would love. I mean, you kidding me? I'm not even thinking of that. That would be icing on the cake. You never know, but we probably need a little more whoosh. But I'd take Sharpies in a heartbeat. Yeah, LVS was probably the best of the action today. September calls, but you have earnings. I think was it this week or next week? LVS does look interesting. 26th. And we got earnings. We didn't even talk about that, right? And we have earnings. And we have earnings. And we have earnings. And I think, again, post earnings, I think is a good thing. I think it's going to be a good thing because I think you got growth names, again, that have been tattooed. So even if their numbers are hideous, could already be factored in, right? So you see some buying in a growth name after earnings that you're interested in, could get a trade there. And, like a name like LVS, right? Without a doubt, I could see if this thing sells off earnings because of bad numbers in the past, they buy it up. So there are a lot of things on the horizon here that it can only get better. It can't get worse. I'm being honest with you. I don't know how it could get worse. I really don't. I don't know how it could get worse. Like no matter what you tell me, I don't know how it could get worse than it's been. What are we talking about here? Is there anything more bullish in the government relations, ESPN, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, well, I mean, energy has been ridiculous. Some of these energy stocks too have been insane. They got hot. Yeah, I think, like I said, Tree, even I'm not even talking about the start of a whole new bull leg. I just think we are closer to the point where over an intermediate term basis, there are going to be opportunities there, for our style, right? We're not looking to invest. We're looking to trade. You want to swing trade and you're looking for that follow through move. That's what it comes down to, right? Not just the initial squeeze. You want it, right, to follow through off that. So you don't have to get out in the nick of time. And I don't think we're too far away from that, right? Even if this is the start of a bear market, I don't think we're too far away from that. I don't think we're too far away from that. And I don't think anybody really knows how this thing plays out. I mean, I could see either side. I could see the start of a top, but honestly, that would probably surprise me based off positioning, but I could see like a range for a lengthy period of time, I should say. But I could also see a washout and it leads to a powerful rally. I really do. Where all of a sudden you start to hear people talk about how owning equities in inflationary times is a good thing, So you can have it work out that way too. There's a lot of different ways it can work out. I think the good thing is that we don't have euphoria here. We don't have euphoria here because of what's been going on in names. Yeah, I think so, Tree. I think if things fall into place the right way, I could definitely see it. You know what I mean? You get enough people shaking out, like we've been talking about. You look at some of the positioning readings out there. Yeah, there's not a lot of people positioned for a move higher. I don't follow that, Damien, as closely. I don't follow the collar. I think they rolled it, didn't they? Wasn't that a couple of weeks? Oh, is this rolled to March? The last I heard, they rolled it. They roll it every quarter. Yeah, I mean, I got a buddy who follows it, so I go off based on what he tells me. But he tells me there's nothing major coming out of that anyhow, as far as something extremely actionable. But I guess it pays to pay attention to it. Is there a separate squeezometer for NQ? No, unfortunately. You got to go back. I don't remember the last time the rotation has been this drastic. This doesn't happen this regularly. You know what I mean? When can you tell that what you're going to see? Like, for example, here we got tactical sentiment going into tomorrow, right? If something bigger, something larger is at play, okay, you're not going to see much of a move from here over the next day or two. You know what I mean? Either it gets run over initially and whoosh, okay, or like 2018, where again I remember it vividly, and I remember because I wrote up a note. It was during the holidays. Not even a lot of people were around, but I wrote up a note to Steamroom members saying how, listen, this is telling us this is something bigger going on, and that's the bad news. The good news is you might get capitulation here, and we ended up getting capitulation. It felt longer than what it looks like on a chart, but that's always the case. No. Oh, I passed it. So like this is what it usually looks like. 2018, oh, it's the end of it. See that? So like usually the tactical sentiment signals when the market is just going through its normal things, you're getting something to the effect of this, right? You're getting something like that. Where indicators go back, the tactical sentiment and all the other ones go at least to neutral, right? A lot of times they go to sell. They go to the complete opposite side. Here I remember you had tactical sentiment literally sit there for like 2 days. You had squeezes, they reversed, and then the selling, the floor just broke. That was Powell autopilot. Exactly. Powell autopilot. And it's funny because now, Frank, people are saying the line this go around, it was autopilot then. Now it's the economy is a lot stronger. It can handle it. You won't even feel it. That's what he's saying now. That's what he's saying now. Then he was saying the same thing. Oh, it's on autopilot. Don't worry about it. Yeah, this Praveen. The main one we post at the close. Oop. Come on, this freaking chart. There it is. Oh, by the way, let me while you guys are looking at that, I'll pull up the SPY gamma thingy. Hold on. Fear greed is, I wonder what is holding fear greed. It might be, is it the put the call that's holding fear greed from slipping here? I wonder what the hell. Hold on, let me post the SPY gamma. You got a better look at it. One sec. SPY gamma. Oh, here it is. I have it up. It still did an update on this thing. Still did an update. Yeah, I know. Q, that's a good question. It's strange, Q. This is strange. How they've gone about it here recently. You're talking about like completely different tune since he's been nominated again. Completely different tune. It's almost like a different Fed chair. Completely different tune. Maybe he's that concerned about inflation being a major problem, but usually he goes towards the side, right? They wanted inflation to run hot. Now, granted, it ran hotter than they wanted. I get it, but he always would be concerned about the economy slowing more than inflation sticking. Yeah, and you got some of these economic numbers, they look hideous. Is it because of the virus, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, Biden, that's what a lot of people are saying. It's politics. It's politics. And you know what it is too, guys? Like we care about the market, right? We get, like, is it the end of the world if the market has a little hiccup here? Like, look at this. Like, what do you want to do here? Look at this. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had a correction. Maybe they want, maybe they want a cleansing. Think about there's people jarring their farts and selling them for thousands of dollars. Okay, you think it's getting a little crazy out there? Maybe they want to shake the tree, for Christ's sake. Yeah, Q. I saw that, honestly. I told you, Norse gave me a tutorial on NFTs on Friday. I wanted to buy puts on my life after seeing that. What was going on? You know what I mean? I'm being honest. It's out of control. So, yeah, fart jars. I thought it was like a joke. I didn't know that was really going on. I thought it was somebody, cracking jokes. I was like, yeah, that's funny. But, so maybe you, yeah, someone said pull up a chart of the Qs. Like, look, right? From where we came from COVID, right? Even if this thing got hit up nicely, what are you talking about? You're talking about nothing. And then the Fed pivots, right? And not only that, you know what happens to inflation, right? It gets washed away. It gets washed away. So that might be what's up his sleeve. Because he doesn't sound like this. Get people back to work angle. That could be, right? Nobody wanted to work anymore. That's how ridiculous it is. Foreign truck disruptor. Oh man. And guys, not to sound like a corny a boomer either. Like this is again something we spoke about. What's happening though, right? Gradually here, that quality names that are earning money are outperforming names that have no revenue. That's normal, and that's a sign of health. Good. That's not bad. Okay. What we saw in March, it came to a head in that March. That's bad. Okay, that's bad. You know what I mean? We're degenerates. We look at the game as gambling, but you can't, never throughout history, you can't have names that are, have no revenue and don't even know what profitability is. Go bananas. You can't have investors not even know what a company does and load up on the stock. You can't have that go on. You know what I mean? You can't have it. You just can't. The market it never worked that way. It's never that easy. You guys know that. Right. It was too easy. Right? What were they doing, Jared? They were picking names based off a story or a sector. And so, I mean, what's next, big picture wise, is not an easy question to answer. I think we got to see how this plays out. It can play out both good and bad. A good way is this is a legitimate shakeout, and you get, kind of we're mid-90s type thing, and you get a major run that follows a healthier run, or the top of growth and a whole different type of market. Right, DWAC. Like you see, like DWAC, that's the Trump stock, right? Like in March, you had how many stocks doing this? This is nothing. This DWAC doesn't even impress me. Some of the stocks still that we were looking at, those SPAC names back in March. They were insanity, right? The QSs and the Churchill down, whatever EV name that was. Look at this. Look at this. You know what I mean? Nikola, guys getting locked up. Insane. Yeah, that period was nuts. That's what I'm telling you. March, that's when I was the most spooked out. I think things are looking healthier now than a lot healthier now than back then. But yeah, Jay, what happens next? Obviously, I wish I had the answers to that. I don't think many do. And I don't think we rack our brains over it. I think here's the easy answer, what we want and what we're looking for, right? We want a healthy enough rinse here that at the least we're going to have an environment probably over the next 3-4 months that we can make money in and not be frustrated and not feel like, we're going to lose money every time we pick a name to trade. We have an environment where we can look to buy dips and we don't have to worry about the market rolling over. A lot of the shaking out has been done. What happens, from that point on, who knows? Nobody knows. You know what I mean? You can have another COVID that kills us all. How do we know? Yeah, I think, Vin, if we get the cleansing that we're looking for, what I think is you're going to get even a bear market rally in a lot of those names. Okay, at the least, all right? Because listen, not all those names are garbage. A lot of those names eventually are going to be part of new leaders, right? We know that. It's just which ones. But I think if we get the reset that we want here over an intermediate term basis, a lot of those names are going to have really healthy squeezes. Anyway, like I say, like Twilio, I'm just giving an example. Like you're talking about a stock that took a beating here, right? I say take a beating. Look at this move. I say take a beating. And you want to see even crazier? You scroll back even further, right? Where this thing has started. Like this is nothing. This is nothing. So anyway, you could say this is still long-term in some sort of uptrend if you want to really. What I'm saying is you get a really healthy squeeze. Something along those lines. And it could be in a bear market, a downtrend, right? Still, but there's a lot of money to be made here over the course of the next couple of months. You understand? That's what I think where we look for. That's what I think we look for. Yeah, we and the beauty is you don't even need to get as greedy for trading purposes, not investing purposes, for trading purposes, right? You don't have to be like, oh yeah, I'm playing Twilio here and I'm looking for new highs and then some, right? You could go out 3 to 6 months and you could say, right, you're just looking for Twilio. I mean, you know what this level is here? 320 to 340. You know where the stock is? 200. You see what I'm saying? Right? You see half that move, you're going to make a nice hit. Hold on. I didn't see what you guys are posting. I'm going to open this up. What did you guys say? What stock? Hold on. Take a look at, oh, yeah. I remember this. GRWG. I remember this. Honestly, this stock treated me well. I know it's probably a piece of garbage, but I made a decent hit in this stock. So I find it hard to badmouth it, but it's probably a piece of shit, right? I mean, look at this move. Look at this. Yeah, this thing was really good to us. Yeah, so these things are really, probably ping sheets. A lot of these things won't be around, Lourdes. A lot of these things won't be around. And the stuff that make it to the other side, are going to be real. This was the gardening name, right, JC? That's right. The gardening name for weed. That's right. That's right. And those of you I know, like Cal, you like these names, right? You like if this market sells off here a bit, right? You're going to get a dip in these names, and you can buy these names on dips. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're going to have to rack your brain as much and worry about, oh, is this on the wrong side of rotation? I don't think. Maybe energy if it continues to buck the trend. But the majority of these things, if we get the healthy reset, the majority of them, there's correlation. That's what you want to see. So you get a sell off, a quick little sell in FCX, and you want to find an entry into that at that point. All right. A firm that took a nice hickey recently. All these things, though, guys. I mean, all these things, some are worse than others, but all these things have been wow. I mean, give it all back. The more speculative the name, too, the worse, right? The worse it's been. Like the more gassed up they've been. Net. Damn. How about our buddy? I got a bid in SE, $15. You think I'll get it? Where are we? 170. Shit. I got more work to do here. You know I'm enjoying this. SE, you rat bastard. SE. What the hell was that really about? Trip, I mean, Trip should be doing okay, but yeah, Trip, I say doing okay. Well, it was okay. Nobody, everyone's scared of Omicron. What do you mean okay? You know what it is, Jay? Why would you even want to buy Trip? Why? Just if you're going to buy Trip, buy like Expedia, no? Or buy Booking on a dip. If they all come down, buy those guys. What the hell you want to buy Trip for? That piece of garbage. Trip can get bought. You're right. It can get bought, and that wouldn't shock me. They had to buy it. That wouldn't shock me. But you know, compared to you got quality names that you might get dips on here, even though they've been holding up quite well. Where's Booking? That's the beast. Let's see Booking. Like these stocks have hardly budged. Booking, Expedia, Match. Yeah, wow. Why now is Match rolling over like this? Isn't it a reopening name? I don't know. Because it was a big win. I don't know anymore. I really don't. But if you honestly, Jay, if you like it, this is going to set up. They're all going to set up if we get what we want. They're all going to set up. You know, they're all going to set up. Like I said, even if you're like Cal and you think like it's these commodity names are going to be or in uptrends, then you're going to get dips on them, and you can buy these things. D-Dog too, right? Let's see. That caught like a bounce sweep today too. Let me see this. Wow. I mean, I don't. How do you find a bottom in these things? I don't even know where to look when these charts look like this. No, like where? You guys have any Fibonacci's or something? If off a run like this, like where? DT, that's another growth name I like. I like DT. Let me see, DT. That still looks okay, right? When you scroll back, it's just, again, it's a correction. That's all it looks like right now. ZS, let's see. Yeah. Does it look that bad? It doesn't look bad. You know, look at this. These things are normal. It's just, it hasn't been normal. You understand? These things haven't had a correction. Later, Lourdes. Love you too. Cybersecurity, right? The ZS. What's the other one? Crowd, right? Let me see Crowd. I know that's been weak too. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad. I get it, it's been selling off, but you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at this, guys. This is the first thing I'm looking at. You know, when you have a run like that, this is normal. Again, I don't know how deep it gets. You guys realize, here I go on my grandpa rocking chair again with the stories, but you guys realize I told you in 1998, right? There was the Asian contagion. There was a correction in tech, and all these big tech studs literally got chopped in half, 50% off their highs. Okay. And then by the time mid-19 1999 story. You know, my point being that, these corrections, they happen, they look like the end of the world. And then a year later, these stocks, it's like it never happened. Yeah, that's why, I mean, they could come in, but this crowd is not 60% off the highs, is it already? Could be, right? Because it was so, wow, 300, it was a, damn. And crowd is real. No? I mean, they're not really earning much money, but it's a real name. Yeah, the problem is they just, they're not really earning much money. But if they have blowout quarters, the stock will adjust. They just had crazy runs. They just had crazy runs. This is a nice, healthy correction. Cloud. Let's see what it is. I don't know, man. There's gonna be a bounce at some point here, but I don't know if it's the last one. Like look at like you look at the arc, and I know like some of those names are the little names are garbage in there, but look at this. The bigger the move is, you know, the more pain usually comes. Are they oversold? Let's see Home Depot, because that stock was an ATM machine up every single day. Let me see. That's not even a dip. Let me see Costco. That's another machine. Yeah, I mean, guys, this is peanuts, right? This is peanuts. This is nothing. I can't believe the uptrend on these things. Relative strength below 30. Yeah, because they've been selling off here for like a straight week, right? Damn, there's some big moves out there. What about the Chipotle? What's that been up to? Oh, it looked worse at first. Yep. I don't know. They don't look that awful to me. You know what I mean? They still look like healthy names. Yeah, Lucy, these are rotation names now. So these, a lot of people think these names outperform now. Well, you know, we'll see. What we'll see is if they buy dips, you know, that's what we'll see. But likelihood you get a little dip, little breather here, and they should buy it. When's earnings? February. Viacom and Disca. They move together mostly, right? Yeah, I am lost in names, guys. I'm being honest with you. I'm lost. I don't have a preference. I don't know. You know, part of me thinks the you know, the rotation into value is overdue, but you know that it wouldn't shock me. Growth gets its footing. You know, if the Fed pivots, I'm just lost right now. I mean, good value names, like what are you talking about? Good that they've run already, or good that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good value names. Depends what sector you want. You know, you got, yeah, Caterpillar is a name, URI, United Rentals, Deere. Deere's a stud, DE. Yeah, Disney's more of a reopening name, not necessarily. I don't know. I guess maybe it could be value. You have the commodity names. Ford goes up, right? Was going up every day. You know, Viacom and the other guy, Disca, fall into that category. The energy names. So think about like all the names nobody really was excited about because they were all those sexy stories were in play. Now it's the boring names. GE, what's that doing? You know, these are the names that are in play right now. Intel, exactly. Right? Pays a dividend and bores you to death. Dividend stocks. So again, that's what's in play now. But you guys got to understand, there's been such a drastic rush into this. You know what I mean? It's been on steroids. Fast forward. Like what usually maybe takes a quarter to pan out or 2 quarters to pan out has happened in a week, 2 weeks. So, you know, this is not new. You're not finding anything new here. That's why I think these things probably have a little gut check too. EOG, that's a nice name. Cal, you own that EOG? Wow, look at this. That's a nice name. You know, like my buddy swears these gold miners are going to heat up. If, you know, with the, if this rotation stands pat. You know, they've been out of favor for ages. Like, look at this consolidation. So, looks interesting. Yeah, it catches action from time to time. Later, Peter. I'm going to wrap it up too anyway. So, well, you know, listen, build a list, but I think we have time anyhow to build the list. You know, we got earnings season here. So, my opinion, you want to wait till these companies, as they report, you know, the first couple of weeks. So think of it as this: we got this week, next week, and then we start paying attention to names a little bit more. You know, right now we're just keeping tabs on the overall market. Like I told you guys, the first move I make is not, more than likely, is not going to be an individual name. I can't guarantee that, you know, because I don't want to get stuck on that. But more than likely, it's going to be, you know, start a position on whether it's SPX, SPY, or Qs, you know, 3 to 6 months out, and then start to look at individual names as they're catching flow post earnings. You know, where I can, because I'm being honest, I'm lost. Even if I wanted to buy names right now, I have no idea what I have no, I feel like I have no edge. Where would I go? You know, here's the thing, like right now, the only edge, in my opinion, is that you have like tech setting up and semi setting up sentiment wise, right? So that's like the only edge, but flow, there's no edge. I'm just lost. I'm being honest. I could lie to you guys. I'm lost in individual names. I'm lost. Yeah, Labu. I mean, I like the risk reward, but I think you need this whole speculative growth theme to bottom. Otherwise, Labu is not bottoming. You know what I mean? You need that to, you need the whole complex to bottom. XBI, yeah. Listen, I can't blame you. I definitely liked it as well. I liked all these things. I would have got run over. Yeah, not that I warned you, Jay. This is what was the, like, this was my concern. Like, you know what I mean? If the market gets weak, are they going to buck? You know what I mean? How much is going to buck the trend? I don't know. It's tough to figure out. You know, it's a lot easier when the wind is at your back. You can, you know, and you can get lucky by accident. Yeah, as long as you know, just listen. If you're going to catch these knives, you try to buy, make sure you have some time. That's all. You know, don't try to nail the lows. Is it? Let's see. I haven't looked at the Widowmaker in a long time. I don't even pull her up anymore. Let's see. Oh, man. Can you imagine? Frank, you never know in this game. You never know. Gilead. This was once a star. Oh. This is death right here. This is why it's got the nickname the Widowmaker. You know, this thing, I don't know if you guys remember this move here. Okay. I remember we were looking at it. It was the #1 tweeted stock on stock twits for like 2 months straight, the top stock. Everybody was bullish. This was everybody's favorite stock in the world, Gilead, at that time. Yeah, I don't even remember. I just remember like this was the best stock. If you asked any retail trader what their favorite stock was, it was Gilead. That's how much love there was for it. For good reason. Look at this move. Okay. And it's had to work that off since. And just look at this chart. You know what that could do to you? Look at this chart. So that's why I got the name the Widowmaker. Look at this. You imagine, like everybody who tried to buy dips in this thing, it just made a donation. NFTs. But this was a darling. Like a stud is an understatement, this stock. That people never thought they would lose money in Gilead. It goes to show you. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of widow makers, because there are plenty of names that look like this, plenty. Yeah, here's another one, the Kathy name. Let's see, maybe a 5-year time frame is singing a different tune. But you've had that's what people weren't taking into account. Look at this move in Teladoc over this time period. Single digits to 360. Now look where you are. Right? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really look that awful considering the move. It's just stocks can't just keep going forever like that. You look at all the big winners, you can count on one hand the ones that dips get bought continuously. It's very difficult. She made a killing, Jay. It's not her. Nobody feels bad for her. Everybody feels bad for her when she got popular. Back here, Kathy Wood, they were laughing at her when she was predicting Tesla was going to be an animal. Nobody wanted to buy it. But then all of a sudden, everybody became a diehard Kathy fan. Where? Right into these highs. Let's go. Right? That's what it was. Shamath, all of them. Yeah, all of them. But I remember they were cracking jokes about Kathy with her Tesla predictions when Tesla was stuck in this. Okay? Tesla was stuck in this menagerie, and they were abusing Kathy Wood, abusing her like she was a peon riffraff trader. And then, this happened. Yeah, she was making those outlandish predictions, and you guys don't remember. It seems like ages. Tesla couldn't get out of its own way back then. Yeah, she bought it a while ago. Wouldn't surprise me, right? She's right longer term. She's a smart lady. She knows her shit. But, the way we play the game and the way most of the people who follow it play the game, as in the heat of the moment, they didn't realize what she does. She's not buying and looking for momentum and these things to explode in 2 weeks. You saw she would peel some off when they did that. She's looking big picture. Like even ARK. Look, right? You had this killer move back here, and then look at this. Not as drastic of a pull, but you had some grief, and then this run after COVID. So now is pain time here. You go from here to here. Something like this is inevitable. It's just a matter of when. Hood, they drilled that thing too, right? I really, I don't know. I really don't know. I try not to get too caught up on the stories of these names. Once you start seeing these things make money with their growth rates, then you can make the argument. Like a lot of these things are still story. Like look at this thing is bleeding losses though. Hood. These things are bleeding all sorts of losses. Otley is what's Otley? The oat milk? Is that it? Yeah, oat milk. Oh my God. Again, until the whole complex bottoms, I don't see this thing going anywhere. Yes, no, that's supposedly real, but what are they? That thing's trading like at a 6 gazillion PE, no? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Again, investing and trading, two drastically different things. Tough, tough. You gotta see these things bottom. Yeah, Fetch, they've been catching a knife there, but same thing. Guys, all these stocks are the same. Last, you can make the same argument for Snow, for Fetch, for MQ, all these names. There's some dip buyers out there, but until this whole group bottoms, they all, the algos control them. They all move in packs. You understand that? Very rare you're going to see these things buck the trend of what the rest of them are doing. They're all treated the same. MTTR, throw it in there. All of them. You know, all of them. All these names. Right now, they're just high growth, speculative story stocks. That's what they consider these things. You know what I mean? They may have, you know, an interesting business that a lot of people use. They may have a sexy story. The machines don't give a rat's ass about that right now. You know, if they're losing money, they're hitting the sell button on any little green they see. Now, it's not gonna last forever. You know what I mean? It's not gonna last forever. This is gonna, it'll be at zero in a week if this lasts forever. Right? It's gonna stop, but you know, it's gonna be a pack. It's gonna be, they're all gonna bottom and they're gonna squeeze. But look at this. A lot, these things have been drilled, right? Garmin, that's more of a, that's not really whatchamacallit. What about what were the other ones? Yeah, Josh Brown. I think he stopped himself out. Maybe not. I don't know. What was that one? What were some of the other ones quickly? The ones that used to catch all the flow, the more popular ones. Skills. What was it? Skills. Skills. Is that still around or it got delisted? Skills. Oh my God. Skills. Oh, here was one I saw today. B-fly. Right? Look, they all look the same. Clove. That thing was a disaster when these things were still moving. Oh my God. Path. Wow. Right? They all look the same. They all look the same. These, you know, you can't, like ZS, Crowd, they're in a whole different category than these things, right? These things, like some of these things are doing like $10 in revenue. You know what I mean? Like this is, and the Fed shut off the spigots. DraftKings, right? Oh my God. You know how many people are bullish on this story longer term that are getting their ass handed to them right now? But it doesn't matter, right? Guys, you see, they all have the same price action. You see this or no? Penn was, you thought Jesus Christ was running this company at one time. Doesn't matter. You gotta let this play out. This is, you see, this is a complete menagerie here. You can't get, this is nuts. No, I mean, they literally all look the same. Just different tickers. They all look the same. It's amazing. That I really hype. I have no idea. Honestly, I thought they would be destroying that thing. I guess, you know, you got real buyers in that Bitcoin. There's people who really, you know, they really believe in that shit. They really believe in this shit. I thought this thing would have been hammered by now. I really did. Yeah, you got, exactly. There you go, right? Like Bill Miller, you got real players that are buying this Bitcoin. But I really, with the Fed shutting the spigots off, I thought this thing be a lot lower. A lot lower. Maybe because inflation. I don't know. God, you're asking the wrong guy about Bitcoin. You know what I mean? You're asking the wrong guy about Bitcoin. I have no idea what the purpose is. None. None. Well, I know many claim to know what the purpose is, but I'm saying, even with the reasons they give me, I still don't see the purpose to it. Metaverse, the metaverse, right? All right, that's where I throw it in. I throw it in the land of the metaverse and canned farts. I told you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to run after this. But here's my thing. I promise. Whatever makes it to the other side, whatever survives the bad market and makes it to the other side, I will give credit to and take it serious and not crack jokes. And I've seen too much in my career that people swore up and down was real, only to go poof when they least expected it. You know what I mean? So if jarred farts make it to the other side somehow, some way, you're not going to hear me crack jokes about jarred farts anymore. All right? Maybe I get into the business. Silver will go partners. I fart, you jar. All right, guys. On that note, I think I'm losing my marbles here. All right, members, keep an eye out. I'll post some of the other things as they update tonight. We'll see if anything interesting. The SPY gamma chart just updated. Nothing there, but I'll post it anyway. Always a pleasure, guys. Enjoy the night. Good luck the rest of the week. And I'll see the rest of you mañana.